Hi, it's Bill Cohen for Shea Circle Martial Arts, and this is finding the correct angle when you're being grabbed. When you're a beginner, you learn escapes. So he goes to grab me and I escape, right? He goes to grab me and I escape. He goes to grab me and I escape. He goes to grab me and I escape, right? Very simple. Because you should do that, because you have to learn to escape first. But what you're going to find in real life is sometimes people just grab you and you don't have that luxury of escape, right? Sometimes they grab you and I can pull out of this, and sometimes I can't. Sometimes I have to move in a way that works for me. The problem people have is they muscle instinctively. So he goes like this and I go like this, right? And we're pushing and I feel tension. In my brain, for some reason, we decide that I have to be stronger than him and I have to push. But the reality is I'm about $150. And I'm almost 50, and I'm not going up against a 25-year-old guy who's 250 and doing this. At some point, I have to understand that there's a better angle. But that angle's small, and it's hard to see. So the most important thing I can tell you about this is your feet. People have bad feet. They plod, they go on their heels, they take one step and stop. I see this in class all the time. You have to have dancer's feet. You have to have these quick steps, football steps, right? You have to have that ability to chop, and go. Because if you get pushed back on your heels, or you spin out on your heel, there's no way for you to recover. You have to have these good feet that allow you to move and chop. And as you get pushed, you have to have that ability to immediately come back with no pause. So what you need to understand is there's push and there's pulls, right? So if he's pushing me, I'm going to do my feet slow. I have to create space to get pressure off the hands. And that happens with my feet. So quick step, and go. If I go like this, he's just going to drive me. It's really bad. So the other way is pulls, obviously. So he comes in, he grabs me, and he's pulling in. Now, same thing. You see, most people resist. What they do is they go like this, he pulls and I go like this. But what you gotta feel is the minute there's pressure on you, you have to go with it and come to him. You have to be sensitive enough to that. Realistically, this is a silly drill, but you should do it a lot, is if I grab him like this, he has to learn to feel very quickly where I'm going with him. So that he understands that the minute there's touch, that those feet should be chopped right away. If you sit there and you're a meathead and you wrestle like you're strong, you're going to get hurt, especially at my size. So what you learn real quick is you have to move your feet, but you also have to pick the angle. So if we're like this, right, see how there's a straight line and we're resisting? I don't want resistance. What I want is a very slight deviation so I can pick an angle he's not strong on. So if I'm being grabbed, it's the same thing. It's quick and short. It's not as big as people make it out to be. So we're going to go slow. If he grabs me and he pulls me in, and I try to spin with this, you see how like I went on my heels? All right, the minute I turn like this, I'm on my heels, and all he has to do is push forward, and I'm going over. What you got to find is when he grabs and he pulls, is I step. See that quick step? Now look, this is going to be a very quick step, in and out the way. Did you see what happened? Is I went like this, I entered, I came out a little bit on an angle and turned and then came a little bit across him. So instead of coming straight into him, I came that way towards his shoulder a little bit. Because he's not as strong this way as he is facing forward. So when he's grabbing and he pulls, I come in and I change directions. That's really important because it's hard for him to grab you when his feet are moving. Right? What he wants is he wants to grab me and he wants to grip and hold. But if I can get him pushed and moving, he's going to struggle with that. Now, there's a lot of ways to get him moving. Right? I can step in with my body, but watch this hand. So look, there's a quick shove like this. See how I'm shoving him as I go? I'm pumping with my feet. If I come this way, maybe sometimes I'm pumping with my hands. Right? I can come in and pump with the body and come in. Because the problem I have is I like to hit people. And I can't hit him properly when he's got me all tied up, right? There's nothing there. Now, if you've ever done traditional martial arts, and you've done these silly things that you believe are silly, that are not if you actually knew what they were, you'd realize that these are really enclosed techniques. They're not meant to sit here and go, you know, like this. It's not what they are. He grabs onto me. Look, I need to get space so I can hit. So I'm going to pop and drive with my feet. Now look, now I have an open. Now I can start opening up my offense. Every time he pulls me, I have to shift and pop him. I shift and come in, and look, a little pull, a little pop. Now I have space to start hurting him. That's what I want. You have to have enough space to hit. If you're doing this, watch. I'm going to try and hit him. Right, go this way. Right, like he can't, right? So if you're wrestling with somebody and they're tossing you around, how do you think you're going to hit them? You're not. What's important is when you're doing this, that you find, number one, this is the hard part. Your first instinct, even if he pulls you and you go with it, is going to be to resist him. As you hit this, find a little angle and then go. And then look, I tip him, or I pop him, or I just shot, or bump in, pop him. Now I've created space. Now I can start hitting and doing what I want to do. But if you don't create that space, especially against someone who's grappling, taking you down. Also, with an uneducated fighter, you have more time, right? Maybe you get away with staying on your feet a little longer and moving, and that's fine because they don't know what they're doing. They're grabbing out of panic. But if you're facing somebody who's more skilled, you don't have a lot of time. You make this first adjustment, and then you start to push them a little bit, they're going to be sensitive enough to adjust. So it's really, really important that when he grabs me and he starts pulling, that I immediately start creating something so that he can't hit me or he's not thinking about his next grab. So those hands, they got to be in, they got to be short, and you know, remember too, I'm pushing to be nice, but realistically, you know, when I hit him, there's going to be like an explosion to his face. Sorry, too much. Or in the body, you know, I'm giving a little pop, but I'm driving with those legs. If you don't drive with these legs, nothing works. If you sit here and you wrestle, you're done. So, key to this, you feel the pull, you go with the pull. You position your feet just a little bit to find the angle, and then you start driving. And then you start trying to hurt him. And that's how it works. But if you immediately start, he grabs me, and I start flailing, it's over. You don't have the distance. Pick an angle, pick a position, and work with it. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. Ask questions, leave comments. We've had tremendous growth with this channel recently, and I appreciate everything you guys have done for me. Let's keep it up.